In case you were concerned that things hadn't been weird enough, we are now getting into the seriously strange parts of the book of Revelation. At the beginning of our reading today, John, our guide, is handed a measuring rod and is asked to measure the temple. The temple and the altar and the people who worship God, but not the court outside, which is given over to the nations to trample. But there's a problem. You see, when John is writing this, and still today, there is nowhere on earth a temple to the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. John is being asked to measure something that is not there. Don't get me wrong, there once was a temple. It was big and amazing and beautiful. And then the Babylonians destroyed it. Later, the temple was rebuilt, and it was regal and royal. And then the Romans destroyed it. Maybe someday, far in the future, there will be another temple. But John doesn't know about that. I don't know about that. Nobody but God knows about that. And so John is being asked to measure this thing that is not there. Then we move on to this story about two witnesses. And I don't want to focus on that as much as I want to point out the strange geography that we are being handed. The nations are trampling over the courts of the temple that is not there. The witnesses seem to be testifying at the temple that is not there. When they die, they lie on the streets of Egypt and Sodom and Golgotha. Space is getting messed up. Geography is shifting. Things are getting wibbly and wobbly. None of this is working. We are looking at something that is not there, and yet somehow is everywhere, is all over the world in all of these different places. How are we supposed to deal with that? How are we supposed to understand the temple that is not there and is all over the place and is everywhere? It's going to get weirder. As we move through the book of Revelation, that temple is going to move around with us. There will be a temple in heaven. There will be a city of God where God is the temple. It's all so strange. It's also hard to imagine. It's also difficult to understand. This temple that is not there and is all over the place and is everywhere and is in heaven and is on earth and is God and is nowhere again. How do we understand? What if the temple, this thing that John is being asked to measure, is not a place? What if this temple, this thing that John is being asked to measure, is not made of brick and mortar? What if this temple, this thing that John is being asked to measure, does not have an altar, does not have a chamber, does not have a court outside? You see, the temple of God, this thing that John is being asked to measure, is not a place. It is not a thing. It is you. It is us. It is the church. We are the temple of God, not our building, not the brick and mortar, as beautiful as it is. Not the stained glass, not the carpet, as beautiful as they are. But the people who gather in this place as the body of Christ. We are the temple of God. And that body of Christ is important. We are the body of Christ when we gather in love, when we go out in love, when we serve in love, when we spread the gospel in love, when we share good news in love, when we act in love. Where there is love, we find Christ. Where there is love, we find God. When we act with love, we act as the body of Christ. When our hands serve in love, we are the body of Christ. When our feet walk in love, we are the body of Christ. When our mouths speak love, we are the body of Christ. And in that moment, we are the temple of God. Temples are important things. Temples are where gods live. And the temple of God is where God abides and where we abide. When we love, we abide in God and God abides in us, and we are all one in this temple of God, in God's reign of love. I know I am being confusing. I know even as I say this, it feels unorganized. It feels confusing. It feels difficult to grasp. In all of its fullness, in all of the mystery of what the church can be, of what a congregation like this can be, of what any congregation can be, of what any group of people who live in love can be. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be a little vulnerable with you. I feel the need to do this, and I'm sorry. It's been a difficult week, and I'm a little discombobulated. But this is an amazing passage, and I'm a little overexcited as well. Because in this idea, in this amazing idea is amazing possibility for what we can be. Not focused on bricks and mortar, as lovely as they are, not focused on stained glass and carpet, as wonderful as they are, not focused on numbers, as wonderful as they can be, but focused on love. Living in love, serving in love, doing in love. Because in that we become this temple of God, and God is with us fully, totally, completely, absolutely. John is being asked to measure this thing, and it is immeasurable. That may be why the measurements never actually come up. We never see him use the measuring rod. We never see him write stuff down and double check. The love of God is immeasurable. And the love that can fill us is immeasurable. The possibilities of love are immeasurable. And so, let us be the temple of God. Let us be the temple of God on earth, in this place, and everywhere that we go. Let us be the body of Christ in this place and everywhere that we go. Let us be a people who feed the hungry, no matter who they are, who give drink to the thirsty no matter where they are on life's journey, who welcome strangers no matter where they are from, who visit prisoners no matter what they are in for, who care for the sick no matter what they have, who clothe the naked no matter why they are naked. Let us be a people. Let us be the body of Christ. Let us be the temple of God that loves without limit. Because if we can do that, if we can do that thing, even a little bit, even the tiniest amount, even taking one step at a time, we can nurture God's reign of love in us and in this world. Until that day when we live in God's reign of love in its totality, where our only temple is God. Because we abide in God, and God abides in us, and love fills the whole world. This is a confusing passage. John is being asked to measure something that is not there. But it is only not there because it is not what we are expecting it to be. It is instead everywhere. All around us, among us, within us. And it has the possibility to change the whole world, to remake everything, and to fill everything with love. Thanks be to God.